All right, so today we're going to start lesson 3.1, and we're going to be using some pictures to help us. So in this lesson, I'm going to be using highlighters to really show my examples. So it is recommended that you use highlighters to do the same. I'm going to be using two different colors to help me along the way. So starting out, we actually have two lines here. We have two lines that do not intersect, which should be a little familiar. So we consider them our parallel lines. And to show that we have parallel lines, we actually have symbols to show that. So here they actually wrote it here. It says line L is parallel to line M. So the symbol here, those two long lines mean parallel. Also, if you notice on my parallel lines itself, I have these arrows pointing in the same direction. These arrows are notation to show that the lines are parallel on a diagram. So arrows mean parallel. So here again, we have the symbol for when we're writing a statement or given information, and here is how we use it on a picture to show that we have parallel lines. So now we're going to look at a figure and determine lines that are parallel to AE. So I'm going to highlight AE in one color. So here is line AE, and I want to find a line that is parallel to it. So remember, parallel means that it's not going to intersect. It's going to go in the same direction. So first I'm writing AE is parallel. Notice I'm not writing the word and I'm writing the symbol. So that's what we should get into the habit too, of writing that symbol. So now I'm going to look on my diagram to see what item could be parallel to it, wants to go in the same direction. So if I'm looking at the front of my figure, we can see that DH is going up and down in the same direction, and it will never touch if I extend it. So I could say AE is parallel to DH. Right, and I'm going to do this again. I'm going to find another pair, again to AE. So AE is parallel to, and continuing looking at the box, I can see that BF is also going up and down in the same direction and will never touch AE. So here I'm going to write AE is parallel to BF, and I have one more parallel pair. So I have AE is parallel to CG. So again, you can see all three pairs here, and you want to make sure that you're using your notation properly. All my letters are capitalized. I have my correct symbol with my arrows going in both directions and my parallel symbol. All right, going on to the next example. It says determine the lines that are parallel to BC. So we're going to do the same example, just using a different line. So I'm highlighting BC, and I would recommend you pause your screen and try to find all three pairs that are parallel to BC. All right, so now let's identify our pairs. So BC is parallel to, so I'm looking for the lines that are going in the same direction and will not intersect, and that's AD. Then I have BC is parallel to EH. And then the last one, BC is parallel to FG. So those are my three pairs that are all parallel to my starting line on the pink line that they gave us. So now moving on to our next term, we have perpendicular lines, which we've heard before. So here's an example of our perpendicular lines. Now remember, perpendicular lines do intersect, and they also form a 90-degree angle. So that is huge. So here is our two lines that intersect. You see line L and M. We have notation for this. Our notation, I can write a line L is perpendicular to line M. That upside down T is actually our symbol for perpendicular. And when we have our perpendicular lines, remember, we know that they do intersect, so lines intersect. And form right angle. So here they're showing us that we have the right angle, so automatically I know I have a pair of perpendicular lines. So it's something that go hand in hand. All right, so we're going to apply this into our next example of identifying perpendicular lines. All right, so given our figure here, we're looking at lines perpendicular to AE. So here is AE. So I'm going to write AE with my line, with my two arrows, and that upside down symbol to show perpendicular. So now I want to find a line that intersects and would form a right angle. But notice there are no boxes here. So the nice way to figure that out is really making that L shape when they meet. So I'm going to start looking around my figure. So I'm going to start at the top. So I can see to make that L shape going right to the right, I can see that AE intersects with AD. And they're perpendicular. Continuing on with the letter A, I can see that it intersects with AB. So again, AE is perpendicular to AB. I'm not done yet. I'm going to go to the bottom of that pink line, and now I have AE is perpendicular to EH. Again, that line is hitting that pink line, making that L shape. And then I have AE is perpendicular to EF. And so then I have my four pairs that are perpendicular, all going back to line AE. All right, so now I'd like you to try the next one on your own of finding all the perpendicular pairs to BC. So I'm going to highlight BC. You can pause your screen to try. All right, so now let's look at how our pairs match up. So here we have BC. Again, make sure you have that notation. Is perpendicular to, and I have BA. CD. Again, BC is perpendicular to BF. And then the last one is perpendicular to CG. I hope you noticed when we were creating these pairs that the second line in green had either the letter B or C in our answers, because again, they should be intersecting, so they should be touching a point on that line. All right, let's go to our next example. All right, another word, we have skew lines. So it's not perpendicular, not parallel. So another word. So skew lines, a little bit of notes here. They do not intersect. Not parallel. Not on same plane. So that's what this picture here is showing, are skew lines. So there is no symbol for skew. We just use the word skew for expressing it. So again, no symbol. So you can see L does not belong in the plane P. It's going through it at one point, but not the whole line. M is on that plane, and they are not parallel, and they don't touch. That dotted line does not mean they touch. That dotted line means it's outside of the plane. So line M and line L are skew. All right, so we're going to try that out in our next example. So again, skew. So we have A, E. So we're all relating our answers back to AE. So I'm going to start writing that. So AE is skew 2. Now I want a line that is not parallel, doesn't intersect, and on a different plane. So looking at the front of my figure, AD touches my line. EF touches my line. DH is parallel to my line. So none of these front lines work. So now I'm going to go towards the back of my figure a little bit. So let's go to AB. AB touches it, so it doesn't work. BC. BC does not touch my pink line. BC is not parallel to my pink line. And BC is not on the same face or plane as my pink line. So I'm going to say AE is skew to BC. So you can see they're going in different directions. One's going up and down, one is going left and right, but they're not on the same plane whatsoever. They will never touch if I extend them. So my next example would be AE is skew to FG. So this pink line and this green line, same thing. They do not touch. One's going up and down, one's going left and right. They're on two different planes. They are skewed to one another. All right, so I'm going to find two more. So looking at my diagram, there are two more here. I can see CD all the way over on the side of my figure and GH, both are skewed to my pink line. So I'm going to write those out. So AE is skew to CD, and AE is skew to HG. All right, so we're going to turn our page. I would like you to try the next one on your own, so pause your screen, and then I'll show you my answers. All right, so I'm going to highlight BC, and we're finding our skew lines. So I'm going to highlight all the skew lines in green. So here I have AE is skew to BC, EF is skew, HG is skew, and DH is skew, all skewed to my pink line. So here, BC to AE. So I'm just making a list for this one. EF, DH, and HG. All right, and now we're going to move on to our next example of parallel planes and planes that do not intersect. So let's recap about naming a plane. A plane has 3 letters to name the plane. So I'm going to start with just naming some parallel planes. So here I'm going to highlight that box. So that's my left side. So I'm going to name that plane AEB. I could have picked any 3 combinations in any order of those 4 points. And it's parallel to, so that means it will not touch. So what plane will it not touch? And it's going in the same direction, would be all the way to the right. And that is plane DHC. So again, that was our left and right. So now moving on with that, still finding more parallel planes. I'm just going to highlight the top one. and name it. Again, you choose the combination of the three you want. So plane DAB. So DAB is parallel to plane. And so again, we're at the top, so it's parallel to the bottom. And that would be EFG. Okay, which makes the last two planes the front and the back. So the front would be ADE is parallel to the back plane BCG. So that is the front and back. All right, make sure again you're naming it correctly. Make sure you're using capital letters, three combinations of the letters, using your parallel symbol. What I have in parentheses is just a reminder of what we were using so it doesn't get too confusing. All right, let's go on to our next example. So here in this example, they want us to do something very similar to what we did before with our parallel planes, but this time they want our perpendicular planes. So that means that they want our planes that do touch. So I'm going to give a few examples. So if I start with my side and name that, so plane ABE is perpendicular. Remember, our symbol for perpendicular is that upside down T. Then the plane that's perpendicular to it is CDA. Now, is that the only combination? And the answer is no, because I have another plane at the bottom here that I could have named instead. I could have said plane ABE is perpendicular with that bottom plane of EFG. Again, we wanted that right angle. So here I can say plane over here. I'm going to highlight it so you can see it better. Plane CDH is perpendicular. Now again, we can name the bottom. So I could say plane FGH, but I could have also named the top. So I could say plane CDH is perpendicular to BAD. I'm not done. The list actually does go on, so there are more, but we're not going to list them all. Okay, so you want to be aware that there are more and how to find them. So what I am looking for is that L shape, and you can see my pink lines actually do make that L shape to form that right angle of intersection. All right, so we're going to stop there and practice some more in class. So make sure that you understand the key terms of parallel, perpendicular, and skew and how to identify them.